What's up, everybody? My name is Joseph Cividon, TDCJ number 1732550. And I've talked to a couple organizations that are affiliated with the education department in prison, and they asked me to do a video. So I'm going to just get right into it. I went to prison for bagging large amounts of drugs into smaller quantities for distribution. So they got me for manufacturing and delivery. They got me for retaliation on a police officer, assault on an officer, and I think I had another assault too. But I mean, at that point, I just had them stacked up. So I just went for the whole ride. I did almost 8 years on everything, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Prison sucked, right? But I would have been dead by now if I hadn't went. I was literally wanting to die because my life was so unmanageable before I went. I was reporting like 15 times a month. Everybody, the city, the state, everybody wanted money from me. I couldn't hold a job, didn't have a license. It was just bad. Long story short, ended up going to prison, got in a couple altercations. The GIs, gang intelligence, they locked me down for almost 2 years. In that 2 years, I took the time to try to get better at reading and writing. And when I went to TDCJ, I took their IQ test, their entry test, and I got a 5.9, fifth grade level, 5.9, not sixth grade. So I've been studying, not studying, but reading and writing in SEG, trying to keep my mind together. And then, long story short, I ended up, out of 111 prisons, I ended up on one of the 3 that had welding. 2 were max, 1 was minimum. I ended up, out of 111 units, ended up on the 1 unit that had welding that was minimum security. So I was really happy about that. I got to the minimum unit, and I stepped off the bus, and I said, "What's that?" To the left of me. And old school tells me, "That's the welding class." And I was like, I made it. All right, cool. So I go to the education department. They tell me I got a 5.9 education. I need a 6th grade level. I need 0.1 more. I said, "So what can I do?" She says, "Well, you can get a GED book and study it every night, and then I'll retest you later." Well, they did. I think 2.5 months went by. I studied about 10, 15 minutes a night. And I went back, I took it, and I got like 12.9, which is as high as it goes on most. I think I got like 10.2 on 1 or 2 of them. So that was good. Now I'm in the welding class. So I took the welding class with Mr. Perry. The man was a very rough teacher. But honestly, he's the exact same as all the old schools out here. He groomed me for it. In fact, prison, the way you carry yourself, the way you handle yourself, the things you do, it's the same way you talk to men out here or women out here on the job site, with respect, and you don't just fly off the handle. It's very much on the same lines. I know that's crazy, but it really is. I think that's one of the reasons why I've been so successful in this industry. But anyway, long story short, I took the welding class. I got out. I started welding. I was making like $14 an hour. I was in the oil field, believe it or not, I was a helper. I was making like 14, 15 an hour. And one day, the owner saw me welding. He said, "Man, you're always welding." Long story short, they ended up firing the welder, giving me his job. So that was awesome. I mean, then I just started welding even more. I jumped around because the oil field went down. I went to a shop out near Austin, Texas. And they say because of my tattoos that I would never, even because I'm pretty good with numbers, and they said because of my tattoos, I would never be able to sit in a boardroom with them, with clients. So I told them, well, that's all I needed to hear. I'm out. I just finished parole. I had a little bit of money, so I've been networking for years. So I just took off. I went East Coast to West Coast traveling. And I would be welding here, welding there, Georgia, Washington, D.C. I've hung iron. Florida was really cool. I did the Vegas, I did the Rams Stadium in Inglewood. I did the Raiders Stadium in Vegas. I did the Rangers in Texas. I built one of the biggest bridges in $1.58 billion out in Long Beach, which was really cool. One day, I just decided I was going to go for my CWI, Certified Welding Inspector. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I wanted to try. I was down to fight. Didn't care if I won or not, but I was down to fight. I was just no way I'm not going to do it. So I tried it, and I got it on the first try. So then I got a job out in California, Redding. I built the courthouse in Redding. It was great money. I just had my CWI at the time. Company I was working for made me a proposition. They'd pay for my school if I took it, if I could get all the other certs. So I was like, all right, cool. So I slept in my car for about a year. I was paying for a house for my family in Texas, and I was living in my car in Anaheim for about a year, going to a school over there 7 days a week. Self-paced program, and I got everything that entails for the construction that they wanted. So I have my master's in special inspection. It's like in California, that's a big deal because it's a seismic design. So I did that. So now I've signed up for engineering. I want to be an engineer now, and only so I could be a teacher later. I just feel like obligated because I went from not being able to read and write to using the trade I learned in prison and conquering, mind you. Like, I make you fellas proud. I be anywhere in the state or in the United States, and they be yelling Texas, Texas. They might not know my name, but they know where I'm from and how I weld. So I was holding it down. Then I got that CWI, and then I've read probably 30, 40 code books, and I took tests on most of them. Like I said, I got my master's in that. It's in cumulative certifications, so that worked out for me. And now I'm going for engineering. I start in 2 weeks, I think. Almost 2-3 weeks. I start the engineering program. I'm only going to take 1-2 classes at a time. It's going to take me a long time to finish. I don't care. But I just never gave up. You know, when I took the welding class, I've drove 14 and a half hours before and went and failed a weld test and had to drive 14 and a half hours back. Next week, I was taking another weld test, though. So you just can't give up. If you think you're going to take a class and get out and everything's going to be Cadillac, amen, it's still not. It's still going to be a struggle. There ain't no handouts, not in this world. It's just not. You're going to have to work regardless. And it's going to be hard. You're going to show up on time. You're going to do due diligence. You're going to have to think ahead. It's a chess game. But if you get out here and you take a trade and you get back out here and you put yourself to that trade, you can be successful. I know for a fact because I've done it. At this point, I know I'm all tatted up. I got them all over me. When I walk on a job site, people ain't expecting to see me. They might expect to see me welding, but they ain't expecting to see me running the jobs. They're not expecting that. So I don't know, man. You can be anything you guys want to be. You know, honestly, you really don't know how much of a winner you are. I know that it sucks to be in prison, but if you use that time right now and you start doing some stuff, when you get out, you'll conquer. If you have legitimate, reasonable goals and you don't give a shit about anything else when you get out, you could do this. I know people that's like, I've been gone for 5 years. When I get out, I'm going to start taking care of my kids and this and that. I'm like, hey, bro, your family, they've adjusted. They don't need your help anymore. They're not sitting there waiting for you to get out. They may love you. They may want you to come home, all that, but they still doing their thing. They didn't stop living life. You did. So the best thing I can say is come out and worry about you. Don't get distracted. You know what I mean? Take care of whatever you need to take care of, and you can do it. So that's all I got.